Brian, I cannot believe the number of originals you made for these panoramics. Yeah, you've done a fantastic job on all of them, and not just in the stitching of the images, but also in working on them after the fact. So yeah, you've really brought out the saturation, the color saturation here. I love that you caught these people at the very bottom of the frame. So yeah, beautiful job. Let's take a look at the Civic Center. So that's the original, and then here the manipulated one. Again, you brought out the color saturation really nicely. I might have, if possible, gotten the bottom of this, I think it's a fountain, into the frame as well. But aside from that, really nice job. Okay, on to pink flowers. What I like about this one is that really, in a way, you can't tell that it's a panoramic. So great job, and again, working on the image after the fact. And finally, purple flowers. Yeah, and the same for this one as what I said about the pink flowers. I like the fact that you can't necessarily tell that it's a panoramic. We're just getting a really nice wide angle of view without the distortion that often comes along with the panoramic. So beautiful job on all of these, Brian. Again, I'm astounded at how many images you actually made to stitch together, and it really shows, you know, the detail is just really beautiful, the sharpness. Even when we come in really close, there is essentially no pixelate. Well, there's a tiny bit, but we're up at 800%. So fantastic job. Thank you. Connor, let's take a look at your images. For panoramics, here's your first set. It says Diner Lights, and this is the unmanipulated merged image, and this the manipulated. It looked to me as if you didn't really, excuse me, give us a panoramic view. The information is pretty much the same in each of these frames. So merging them increased the information on the left-hand side a bit, but not that much. So I would like to have seen you have a wider angle of view. Rooftop sunset, I think you did a very nice job on these. So here are the originals. Yeah, subtle, but you definitely worked on the image after the fact and opened up the shadow areas very nicely, so we can see the beautiful green of the trees and the gradient in the green as well. Okay, and street view. So look at the originals here. Okay. And here's the original and manipulated. I think you could have opened up the shadows a little bit more, but nice job overall. And I like the little, not quite little, the star effect that you're getting here with the street light. It's very beautiful, and f/16, the smaller aperture, is why you're getting that beautiful star effect. As one stops down the aperture, we'll get more and more of that effect. And with a large aperture, assuming it's exposed correctly, you'll just get a kind of blob of light. So interesting effect there. Okay, nice job overall, Connor. Thank you. Jay, beautiful job on these images. Here's the first one, cracks in dirt, and really, really beautiful. We'll take a look at the originals. Yeah. So the detail is really, really kind of amazing here. Really nicely done. So yeah, it's not obvious that this is a panoramic image, and I think it works really nicely. We don't have a sense of the distortion that one often gets with the panoramics. So we kind of end up studying the details and getting almost lost in the cracks and the little bits of dead grass and so on. Okay, I'm going to move to the oak tree canopy. Yeah, beautiful images on their own, and the merged image is lovely. Yeah, beautiful job. Again, not an obvious panoramic, but we really have this wonderful view of the tree and the sense of it, you know, spreading out overhead. And then the manzanita trees. So here are the originals. And looking at the originals, I didn't have a great sense of how they would end up. And the final product or image is really, really beautiful. It's as if we're being led into this really secret, special place. The only thing I would say, and as I told you when we talked about the images, it's more of a nitpicking thing in some ways. I would bring down the highlights just a little bit. Yeah, maybe just that much. And perhaps in the special place, I might enhance some of the colors and open up these leaves here a bit, and I would also go down here in the develop module with the post-crop vignetting and darken the edges just a little bit more so that we're further led into the image. I love the color of the manzanita tree, leading us in. So we could even increase the vibrance perhaps a little bit, and vibrance again is kind of like smart saturation. It doesn't increase the saturation of everything, but it, Lightroom sort of analyzes the image and decides where it thinks vibrance or an increase in color saturation might benefit the image. So yeah, great job on all of these. All right, thanks, Jay. Michelle, we'll take a look at your panoramics. So the first set is entitled House, and so here are the originals, and then the stitched images, and this one unmanipulated, this one cropped and changed a bit. I think that you did a fine job with the stitching and the manipulations for the most part, but I think that the angle of view perhaps could be adjusted somewhat to give us more of a sense of focus of where we're supposed to be looking, because this seems a little haphazard to me, with part of the building cut off and the center of the frame here with the side of the house, but there's nothing much going on. So so again, I think you did a fine job on the stitching, but in this particular image, the composition maybe could be altered somewhat. So here are your orchids, and I think this set works very nicely. And it's not an image that immediately, says panoramic, but you got the entire spray of the orchid very, very nicely indeed. And the detail, with having these images stitched together, is really beautiful. The sharpness, 800% is probably not what we want, but maybe 300 or 200, just to see how very, detailed this is, and how sharp without actually pixelating. So yeah, beautiful job. And in the manipulation, you got rid of some of that green tint, so nicely done overall. It is a little bright on the left-hand side, and the highlights could be down a little bit, but overall, very nice job. Okay, and finally, sky and palm trees, I think. So here are the originals, and then these stitched images. So nice job overall. Again, I might dump the house, or I don't know what's on the other side, of course. But the focus, or the point of focus, it seems, is the trees and the sky. So I might emphasize that a bit more. But nice job in opening up the shadows, giving us a much better sense of where we are and what we're looking at. I might do just a couple of things. First, I would darken the corners just a little bit. You could use the brush if you wanted to, the adjustment brush, but I think it's easier just to do post-crop vignetting, and just bring them down a little bit. You don't have to, unless you want to, you don't have to go nuts with it, but just a bit, I think, helps contain the image. So, very nice job overall. Thanks, Michelle. Stevie, okay, let's take a look at your panoramics. Here's the first set of I-880, and it does give us a sense of the freeways, certainly. Come on. I see it. It's all right. And here's the final. Yeah, I think it works well. I think it would work better if we had a little more foreground of the area that's closer to us. It does feel cut off, just sliced off. And sometimes, often that works. But in this case, I think it would work better if we had a little more information at the bottom. But nice job overall on stitching them, the images together. And this one entitled Rose Garden. And in this case, I think it works rather nicely to have this sort of slice of life, especially this guy walking by on his phone, I think it is. Sorry, I'm getting this spinner. Yeah, just sort of walking through the frame. Obviously used a pretty fast shutter speed, and so you stopped his motion, but also the motion of the water in this fountain really beautifully. So nice job on that part. In terms of manipulations, I think you could open up the shadows a little bit, and also bring down the highlights a little bit. And since I'm down here, a little post-crop vignetting as well. Not too much, just a bit to bring the corners down. But I think I would open up the the shadows a bit here, like so, and bring down the highlights, maybe not that much, like so. You could add a little blue to the sky if you wanted, so you could do that with the adjustment brush, and not necessarily change the exposure that much, so I might bring it down a little bit. But get rid of this yellow by changing the color temperature, and just doing that we'll add a little blue to the sky, and we can do the same thing over here if we want. Just get a little more blue sky in there, so it's not blindingly white, that's all. And you can, of course, play around with the levels, the amount of manipulation, obviously, and the shadows, I think, could be opened up even more, just a bit. All right, and finally, warriors. I think this image works really beautifully. It has this sort of empty feel. It's obviously a man-made construction, and it's, there's supposed to be people around, but I think it works really nicely that there actually are not. And here, into the sign here, but obviously this is why you entitled the image Warriors. But I like the fact, in a way, that these warriors are not present. In technical terms, I again would bring down the highlights a bit and open up the shadows. So like so, and not quite that much, and also maybe a little dehazing, and what we did with the sky in the last image, I might do again here. And here, and then again adjust the color temperature to bring just a little bit of blue, a little bit of blue skies in here. And again, we can, as you know, I'm sure with letter O, we can bring in the overlay to see what we've done. Okay, so very nice job overall, Stevie. Thanks.